What's good, YouTubers and boxing fans? This is 17 Brand Diff coming at y'all with a Keeping It Real boxing show. Just got done watching the Hopkins and Orneleas fight just now. Hopkins did an excellent job in the ring. Let me start off from the beginning of the fight, the first round. Hopkins started off slow the first 3 rounds. Hopkins always been a slow starter in fights, but I was kind of skeptical of this fight. He got hit a little bit more often than usual early on in the fight, and really wasn't hit with real flush shots, but hit with glazing shots, which is actually rare to see Hopkins really hit that much at all. Hopkins didn't fight in the inside as much. Probably was part of his game plan, knowing that Orneleas was his sparring partner at one time for the Winky Wright fight, which was 2 years ago. Orneleas did a good job trying to apply pressure early on in the fight, but you can see where Hopkins broke him down mentally and then beat him down physically. Hopkins did a great job in the ring. Hopkins actually fought a great outside fight. Usually we're used to seeing Hopkins going inside, clinch a lot, hit a lot. I mean, we've seen a little of that tonight. But Hopkins actually stayed on the outside a lot, waiting for Orneleas to slip up with a mistake and will make a positive out of that. Hopkins was throwing that right uppercut all night, landing it beautifully on the chin of Orneleas. Hopkins, he fought a beautiful fight tonight. Man, the thing I did notice about Hopkins is that Hopkins didn't use his legs as much. The fight Hopkins, the kind of style Hopkins fought tonight. See, I've been following Hopkins since I was a young boy. I mean, since I was like 13 years old. I'm 22 now. And seeing Hopkins fight the way he did tonight is so much different. It's like a different realm, a different time zone, we're in. Hopkins still is in great shape, like he's in his late 20s or something, mid 20s at least. Hopkins still has great legs. His stamina and endurance is still there, even though it really wasn't pushed that much tonight. But Orneleas did push it enough to show that Hopkins still has a lot left in the tank. But Hopkins, I'm used to him hopping around the ring, bouncing around, staying in motion, jab here, dash there, leading right, feinting. But we really didn't see that tonight. Hopkins, the style he fought tonight is still the type of style that would carry him in any of the top tier opponents in the light heavyweight division. Ain't that much left in the light heavyweight division, but Chad Dawson, in my opinion. I'm not going to say Danny Green. I don't want people to get blindsided by the Danny Green stoppage against Roy Jones Jr. Don't be blind to the fact that Roy Jones has been shot for 5 years. If you was expecting a Roy Jones to come in, the flash and dash, it wasn't going to happen. I didn't even bother watching the fight until just now after the Hopkins fight, because I knew that Roy Jones wasn't going to win that fight. I didn't even put up a prediction because I knew Roy Jones, wouldn't win the fight. And I'm a big Roy Jones fan. I'm a bigger Hopkins fan, but I'm also a big Roy Jones Jr. fan also. And I just knew it. It was just pointless, and Roy Jones is too sharp for me to be throwing out any predictions. I wouldn't even put $1 on Roy Jones. I see people on YouTube posting on other channels telling me that, oh man, I lost $100, I lost $1,000 on this bet. Man, is you crazy putting money on a shot fighter who looks nothing the way he did several years ago? I wouldn't even put my money on B-Hop, and B-Hop has much more left in the tank at 44 years old, turning 45 next month, than Roy Jones at 39 years old had. I would say that Hopkins' performance was excellent tonight. It got to a point in the fight where Hopkins actually could have pushed Orneleas to a stoppage. He hurt Orneleas a lot, and which is surprising because people always saying that Hopkins don't have power. He don't have this much power. It's Hopkins' style is the reason why he hasn't had a lot of stoppages. And you have to remember, Hopkins doesn't have the work rate he had when he was in his early 30s, even in his mid 30s when he fought Felix Trinidad. Hopkins is still the executioner, but as you get older, like Hopkins said in a recent interview, you can't fight with nature, and you can't fight with nature. Age is going to show some way, somehow. In my opinion, I think it's showing differently for Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins is fighting a different type of fight now. He's fighting a different type of style. Hopkins isn't going to go in and try to knock out an opponent if it takes a lot more work than usual to knock somebody up. He can just push it to the cards. Why not push it to the cards and get a decision? A unanimous decision, a split decision. But if the opponent, he can easily take out, he will take him out. If you feel the opponent is worn down, like Orneleas, I said tonight, was very worn down in my opinion. He did a backflip off the thing after the fight. In my opinion, he was trying to show off and show that his legs were still there. But he was very hurt, and it got to a point in the fight I said they're going to stop this fight. But Bernard Hopkins definitely put on an execution. If you missed the fight, I advise you watch a replay on Versus sometime tonight, next week, whenever it comes on again. Bernard is still Bernard Hopkins. He's still there. Bernard Hopkins, I believe, said after the fight he still wants to fight Jones. And in my opinion, a lot of people are saying, don't fight Jones, don't fight Jones. Jones just got knocked out. But Hopkins is 44 years old. Turning 45 next month. It's getting to a point, even though he still has something left in the tank, it's going to get to a point where he's going to want to throw the gloves in. You know what I mean? And to me, the Jones fight make more sense than him fighting Danny Green, than him fighting Glenn Johnson again for a rematch, for him fighting Chad Dawson. He don't need that right now in his career. If he want to take it, take it. If you want to take it after the Jones fight, do it. Do it. If you want to sign off that way, then do it. But he has to get that fight with Jones regardless. He wants revenge. This fight makes more sense to him. This is a personal thing. This ain't about the fans getting this and getting that. We got a lot out of B-Hop. B-Hop has fought everybody for us. No matter how the fight looked, no matter what. B-Hop has never backed down from a fight. And he gave us everything in his whole career. And now it's time for him to handle personal things. And him and Roy Jones Jr. been trying to land a fight for over a decade now. And in my opinion, I think Hopkins should make that fight happen by March. After March, if he beats Jones, which in my opinion I think he will, regardless of Jones getting knocked out, I always said once I seen Hopkins call Jones out, I think it was after the Eastman fight or after the Trinidad fight, he called Jones out. It was after the Oscar De La Hoya fight. Right after the Oscar De La Hoya fight, he called Jones out, and he wanted to make that fight happen. Money issues got in the way, didn't happen. So like I said, this is a personal thing with B-Hop. And if it's something he need to handle, he need to handle. And like I said, if you want to stay in the fight game and he want to fight Chad Dawson or Danny Green, he'll do it. He will do it. But just let him handle his personal business right now, and that's getting that fight with Roy Jones. Even like he said, even if he don't get credit, he got to make this fight happen because it's a personal thing. And like I said, if you haven't seen the fight, check it out. Hopkins did an excellent job. Like I said, Hopkins, this fight could have been stopped, to be honest. Hopkins, I seen points in the fight where Hopkins could have knocked the guy out. But like I said, check the fight out. It was a very entertaining fight, and be safe.